Hi, Caledonian biker here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm at West Coast Triumph in Glasgow, and I've been asked by one of the dealer principals here to do a comparison on the Triumph 1200 Tiger GT Pro against my own, which I've had for almost a year now, BMW R1300 GS. So please stick around and find out my first ride impressions with the big Tiger 1200 and how it compares to the BMW R1300 GS. So, roll the intro. Hi, Caledonian biker here again. Thanks for sticking around and watching my short intro. Hope you enjoyed it. Now it's time to the nitty gritty, and it's time to test all new for 2024 Triumph Tiger 1200 GT Pro. Right away, striking colour in the red, quite pleased with that. It's shod with the Metzler Tourans Next tyres. Tyre I've used before, so look forward to see how these go. And I'm familiar with the brakes, the 4-pot Brembo calipers. So let's get my first ride impressions on the 2024 Triumph. Good turning circle in the car park. Pegs are a bit higher than GS 13 that I've just come off. Agile enough bike. Seating position feels good. Now, as we pull out here onto the dual carriageway, I feel right away the bike's nice and light to ride on, manoeuvre about. Quite handy at that. Now this bike isn't an all new bike. In 2022, Triumph brought out the first T-Plane 3-cylinder, and that was a lighter version than the old 1200 plus cc's. This is actually not fully 1200, it's slightly less, about 1160. And after 2 years, Triumph listened to the owners of the machines, which is good. Big thumbs up to them for doing that. And as a regards to what the owners had been saying about the bike, they felt the bike had too much character now. They wanted it a wee bit more refined. So Triumph in their wisdom listened to this, and 2 years later this is plan B. The 2024 has been slightly changed, where they've changed the crankshaft in it, smoothed the bike out. They seemed to be a wee bit too aggressive for some people, and they wanted to make it smoother, more refined, and we'll see if this is the case with the bike. They also made the seat a bit flatter also, and one of the main reasons was the fact that a lot of people were finding the old engine, which wasn't an old engine, it was only 2 years they've had it, was causing them to stall at slower speeds. So I've certainly not had any problems with the new engine from my first experience of pulling away and the turning circle on it. So with the bike itself, the engine's not really changed that much. It's probably got the same brake horsepower, which comes in about 148. Now that's about 5 up on what the GS is in standard form, but the GS does have a massive 110 foot of torque, and the torque in this comes under 100. So there is a difference in the torque between the two engines. Now, let's see how it goes on this short part of the M8 motorway before we embark onto the Clyde Tunnel. Acceleration through the box, nice and smooth. It certainly is smoother than the 2022 model. And it gets you up to your motorway running speed in no time at all. The screen itself probably hit me just below where I really want it to be with the wind. Very clear, precise dash on it, the 7-inch TFT screen. Seat height feels okay, the pegs are slightly more forward, I would say, than what the GS 1300 is. In this tunnel, quite bumpy road surface all the way through with a volume of traffic. I've got the bike on the road mode just now, and it's show suspension, quite plush, is soaking up the bumps. Okay, there's no chatter off of that. I'd ridden the 900 before, when it was first launched with the T-plane crank, and I must admit, with the T-plane engine 900, I found that a very progressive bike. And I thoroughly enjoyed the ride out, and funny enough, it was the same area as I'm going to be riding in today. Now, I'm a GS owner. As you'll see by the channel, I've got the R1300 and I've also got the R1250, and I love both bikes. I've had 5 GSs now, and as you'll also see by the channel, I've said the 13 is my favourite GS to date. So I'm a big fan of the GS, but I've also a Triumph owner. I've owned the Triumph Thruxton R track racer now for some 7 years, and that's a keeper. I just love that bike to bits. It's just iconic, in my opinion. And I've also done a bit of travelling on the Triumphs, but not the big Triumphs, the Triumph 800 XCX. I've done a 15,000 mile journey from my hometown here in Glasgow all the way to China on it, taking 2.5 months, and then flying back in the 747, bit more comfort. And I was very impressed with the 800. There's a good build quality at Triumph, and Triumph, in my opinion, is a great brand, and it's a brand that's favourite with a lot of Brits. And the fact that the Brits have bought this product over and over again, myself included, just proves how good a product the Triumph range is. So when I was given the opportunity to ride the bike today, I was thoroughly looking forward to riding the 1200. In town work, the clutch feels really light, the gears easy enough to change in the urban environment. And as I said, the first time I jumped on the bike back at the dealership, it was a very light feeling motorcycle. This has got the 19-inch front wheel on it, and there's obviously a big debate just now with the 21 and the 19. I see some of the journalists who were at the launch of this bike, which was also done in Scotland, out near to where we're going to be riding today, back in April of this year. And some of the journalists were preferring to ride the rally model, and that's the one with the 21-inch spoked front wheel. And then you have the Explorer versions of the two bikes with a bigger 30-litre tank. 30-litre tank giving them over a 300 miles range on them. Certainly not for me. I like my coffee and my coffee stops. I've never been a GSA rider, and I don't think I would be looking for bigger tanks again. I prefer the smaller versions, easier to pick up in the remote places of Afghanistan that I've been riding in, and I've never ever wanted for petrol in any of the countries I've been in, and that's 6 continents I've ridden now, and I've never had to look for petrol at any stage. Always been able to get it when I needed it. Fortunate for me. But getting back to the bike itself, with this version, the 19-inch front wheel probably suits most riders now. And the reason I'm saying that is Honda's extensively changed its brand with the Africa Twin. It stuck with the Africa Twin from its launch way back, and it always stuck with the 21-inch front wheel. But in 2024 it's due to release to the public fairly soon the all singer all dancing new Africa Twin with a 19-inch front wheel. Don't get me wrong, they'll still have one model in the range with the 21 for the more off-road biased riders, but with the popular brand and models, it will be a 19-inch front wheel now. So there is going to be an ongoing debate with these adventure bikes what your preference is. Is it a 19 or is it a 21? Personally speaking, I'm a fan of both. I'm not going to pick one out against the other because I ride a Tenere and a Transalp in the winter time. And as you know, if you've watched the channel, I torture these bikes during the winter time in all conditions, riding 10,000 miles during the winter. And these bikes ride on the 21-inch wheels. With the 21-inch wheels, I've got no complaints whatsoever. I'm happy to ride anywhere, off-road, on-road, with the 21, and it's a nice feel and it gives you good road confidence with the 21. However, that said, some people look at the 21, and I've spoke to people personally and they've said to me that they just don't like the look of the 21. It's a narrower tyre and they're not going to get the same amount of grip. So all about opinion, that's why we're all here, that's why you're watching the channel, to see what these opinions are and what comparisons are. But Honda's obviously woke up, smelt the coffee and decided they'll sell more bikes if they jump back to a 19-inch front wheel. And as I said, the journalists who rode this bike at the launch in Scotland in April of this year, a lot of them preferred the 21-inch front wheel. So my suggestion to yourselves, if you're thinking of getting an adventure bike and there's an option between the 21 and the 19 and you've not experienced the 21 before, try and ride a bike that's got the 21-inch just to give you that experience and give it a go, because you might know, end of the day, you might like it. It's down to you and how you feel. So bear that one in mind. Don't get me wrong, it's a sweet enough gearbox and a very good clutch. The clutch is actually, lever's been extended this year over the 2022 model. Another benefit the bike's got for the suspension to be lowered, there's a home button with a picture of a house on it in your right hand switchgear, which you can hit with your thumb. So as long as you're doing under 52 miles an hour, your suspension will reduce by 20 millimeters. Similar to what the BMW R1300GS has got with the seat height suspension reduction, but that is an extra and that works all the time, whereas this one on the Triumph you've got to do it manually, and if you are doing it above it, 52 miles, it won't do it. It should kick back into normal height after you go back to 52 miles an hour, or if you hit the button. With this GT Pro model, I don't have the quick shifter up and down, so I'm certainly missing that from BMW R1300 GS. Now with the big Triumph Tiger 1200, as regards to your servicing intervals and costs, something else to bear in mind. The Triumph, unlike the BMW GS 1300, has got a 10,000 service interval, whereas the GS has got a 6. The GS has valves every second service, which is a 12,000 mark. With the GS 1300, you're just under the 200 for the smaller service at 6, and then if it's a valve service at 12, you're looking to be pushing that up into the kind of high 200s, 300 bracket, depending on the dealership. Unfortunately, with this bike, the Triumph Tiger 1200 engine is a £200 to £300, sometimes £400 servicing charge for the 10,000 mile, and it's got £1,000, if not more, for the valve service, which comes in at 20,000. So again, if you're purchasing the machines, it's something else for you to bear in mind. If you're having the bike for a few years and you're doing a big mileage with the bike, if you're doing some tours of Europe and your mileage is going to come up, keep that in mind and do your sums and show due diligence as regards to the cost of servicing. On the subject of touring, with this present Triumph 1200 Tiger model, Triumph are giving you, and this video was filmed in September 2024, free luggage rails for the side panniers of the bike. These normally fitted would come in the region of just under £1,500. But Triumph's doing a special just now, and it's allowing you to get the rails and the luggage, and I believe it's just the cost of the fitting that you've got to pay for. So this is also an offer which is worth considering if you're looking to buy a bike and get the luggage free. I know certainly with the BMW it is very costly for your luggage for that motorcycle. So bear that one in mind, and again, show due diligence if it's luggage that you're looking for with the model that you need for what you're wanting to do with the bike. Back to the riding with the bike in here, the Nationals. With the Showa semi-active suspension, the bike's got a good feel on this smooth surface. I won't be taking the bike off-road, that's not part and parcel of what you're allowed to do with a demo bike from the dealership, so I can't give any advice on how the bike would be off the road. The tyres on the bike are the Metzler Tourans next, which is a good tyre. I've had them fitted to several bikes before, and it's a good all-round tyre. The front tyre is a 120/70/19, and the rear tyre is a 150/70/18. Now most of the other adventure bikes are running 170s, so it's interesting that they've went for the 150 on the back, but it certainly keeps the steering very quick on the bike. And as I say, the bike, even although it's a heavier bike than what the BMW R1300 GS is, it feels much lighter on the road. I must admit, with the bike having the lowered bars, personally I would prefer a bike with a bit higher bars. I don't know if there is an add-on that you can get for that, but I'm just used to bars being a bit higher than in the position I'm in just now. So I would probably look, personally speaking, to have the bars a bit higher for manoeuvrability and for riding more challenging roads. So as regards to the pricing of the Triumph Tiger 1200 GT Pro and the other bikes in the range, the base model, which this basically is, are coming in the kind of mid to high 17s. Once you start speccing them, just like the BMW R1300 GS, which comes in slightly higher priced, and once you start pricing them up, speccing them up, as is what's the case all these days, you'll find that the Tiger probably comes in about £1,500 less than what the equivalent with the BMW. Now again, that's down to self-preference, what you're looking for, and your servicing costs is something else that you want to consider, and your residual values. But personally speaking, I'm still of the opinion that the BMW for me is a better option. I've never had a problem with getting good residuals for the BMW, and I've always enjoyed cheap servicing costs, and the 3-year warranty with the BMW, anything at all, has always been honoured. With this bike you're also getting the 3-year warranty, and I've no gripes that Triumph would certainly look after their customers as they always do with that. But if it was only just over £1,500 of a difference, I'm certainly going to stick with my 13 GS. Now on the riding with the bike, What I find the biggest comparison that's noticeable is the torque. I'm missing that torque out the corners and the pull of what I was getting with the 1300 GS. As I say, the torque figures, a big difference between the two. You've probably about 13 feet of torque of a difference. The GS has got the most torque out of all the adventure bikes. It's even got more torque at 110 feet than what the KTM 1290 Adventure and 1390s have, whereas the 1390s at 107. So the benefit to me is where the torque is for me for a motorbike, and when I need it, and when I need that power for acceleration, pulling out of corners, etc, etc. And the BMW wins as regards to the torque figures. There's no disputing that.
Hi, Caledonian biker. That's me back at West Coast Triumph in Glasgow after riding the Triumph 1200 GT Pro. I've had a fantastic day's riding of the bike, and I must thank West Coast for the privilege of riding their motorcycle. I hope you've enjoyed the video and all the information I've given to you. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you have enjoyed, give it a thumbs up, and if you've got any comments on the review or any questions on the Tiger 1200, please leave them in the comments field below. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe.